All right, welcome back. I am honored once again to be able to teach this third session to you, which is sort of kind of piggybacks with our last session, which was about team, which was about achieving more by creating healthy teams and accomplishing the vision that God has given you as a leader. By sharing and communicating that vision and creating healthy teams that are trained and that want to stick around to accomplish the vision. A common question that goes with being a servant is, well, then what is a leader to do? And you know that it's important for us as leaders to recognize that we're not just leaders, that we are servant leaders. That even Paul in his epistles was quick to say, Paul, a bondservant, called to be an apostle. First, I'm a servant to Jesus. First, I'm a servant to the church. I'm a servant to those that God calls me to. But I'm a leader, nonetheless. I'm an apostle. The authority of Paul speaking, teaching, writing was given to him, and it has transformed nations and tribes and families and human beings. But first, Paul was a servant. So what is a leader to do when he's a servant? Well, Jesus had a servant's heart. And Jesus actually called us to be servants. Remember, we taught even in one of our sessions, for even the Son of Man has not come to be served, but to serve. He was a servant. But leaders should be willing to do everything that is necessary to further the mission of the team. So you ought to be willing. You ought to have knowledge as to how to move the team forward. And you ought to have a willingness to apply that knowledge in service. However, let me ask you a question. How would you feel if your president spent 80% of his time in the White House, inside of the cafeteria, washing dishes for the White House staff? Would you feel like that's a very good use of your president's time? Or what if your pastor spent 80% of his time doing janitorial work? Now, I know that you know your pastor is willing. Matter of fact, you maybe even have observed him doing janitorial work before. Lord knows that I have done my fair share of janitorial work within the church. However, how would you feel if your pastor spent 80% of his time cleaning toilets over praying, preparing, and loving people? Now, all these are extreme examples, but why would the thought of an important leader in your life spending the largest portion of his time and effort into tasks that someone else can do bother you? Why would that bother you? And the answer is because that leader is not meeting his full capacity and calling. I think there's a confusion regarding this idea of humility and servanthood, meaning that leaders ought to only do the lowest of tasks, and leaders ought to only take humble positions and not accomplish things that are higher. And I think that we need to really bring this concept into the forefront of our mind right now. What are leaders called to do? Well, leaders are called to serve when there's no one else to serve. They're called to serve by leading servants to serve. And they're called to lead leaders who lead servants to serve people who need service as well. So how do we accomplish our capacity and calling as leaders without getting caught up in all of the minutia that comes with our leadership? Well, I've jotted something down, that a basic framework for this concept for us to follow. I'm going to put it up on the screen here. It states that healthy teams rally around a mission, head toward a vision, maintain forward motion through established goals that come to pass through accomplished tasks. Now, I know there are 4 key words there that make up this whole sort of paragraph, really, of a sentence. It's a large sentence, I know, but I want to go through these 4 things. First off, that healthy teams rally around a mission. What is a mission? Well, jot this down in your notes. A, mission and vision need to be elevated over goals and tasks. So what is mission and vision? Well, mission and vision are the important parts of our goal setting process, or the reason, really, the why we do what we do. You'll notice number 2 jots this down, that healthy leaders have a mission. The mission is the why we do what we do. Now, side note, too often leaders are only concerned with tasks, tasks, tasks. What needs to get done, what needs to get done, what needs to get done, let's get it done. Matter of fact, I'll get it done. Matter of fact, you know what? I asked somebody else to get it done a week ago and they didn't do as good a job as I did, so I'm going to do that task as well as all the other tasks, because all the tasks need to get done and I don't want to bother anybody with having to be a part of more tasks, so I'll just do all of the tasks. And that's the goal, listen, not of a leader, but of a supervisor. That's the goal of a manager, not of a leader. You see, eventually somebody will ask, why? Why do we need to do all of these tasks? Probably a wow person. So here's the how person over here with the list of tasks they need to accomplish, and here's the wow person over here asking a very crucial and important question. The question is, why? Why do we need to accomplish these tasks? Some leaders may look up and say, are you challenging me? And they're asking that because of insecurity. Some leaders may look up and say, I don't know why. I don't know why we need to do this task, because this is how we've always done it. And because we've always done it this way, this is how it's done. And that's probably because of inexperience. But task-only leadership happens when there's not a genuine goal in mind, but rather a routine of tasks to accomplish. This is the first indication that a leader has stopped leading and is simply maintaining, supervising, managing, right? Simply maintaining. And the results of that ministry will be a plateau or a decline. See, there's only an incline within the ministry if we have a goal that we're working towards and we know why we're working towards it. But whenever there's somebody a leader who's only concerned about accomplishing the task without accomplishing the greater goals, what happens is you're not aiming for a greater goal. So as a result, you just begin to move sideways. You don't begin to rise. You either begin to become sideways or you just begin to slowly decline. And why is that? Because healthy leaders have a mission. And the mission is their why. And you know what your why is? You know what your mission is? Your mission is, jot this down, A, is your motivation. And you know that having motivation keeps people motivated? Wow. What a novel concept. That if you want to keep people motivated, you need motivation. And to keep people with motivation, they need to know why they're accomplishing some form of task that you have asked them to do. And here's a side note as well. I would say if you have a mission, that you would put it down on paper, that you would take pen to paper and write down your mission. And listen, make it simple, make it plain, so that way he who reads it may run with the instructions. But listen, I would say even greater than just writing it down is saying the mission often, saying it multiple times if necessary, and be belligerent if necessary, because there's nothing more important for your team than for them to know why they are here. They might know the what to do, but if they don't know why, they won't be motivated towards the what. And so find your why. And number 3, I would say healthy leaders inspire direction with a vision. A vision. So your mission is your why, and your vision is the where. Your vision is the where. You see, remember, having a mission is going to motivate people. But having a vision is going to inspire people because they're going to see where they can potentially go. Either themselves or collectively us as a group. Knowing where we're going is going to inspire us to work towards the goals that are necessary to get there. So don't just have a mission, a why you do what you do, but have a vision, a direction in which you are going that you're going to accomplish. And both of these need to be verbalized and communicated with your team. So that way, not only did they hear them when you said them, but they heard in such a way that they now know. Maybe you've repeated it so often. Maybe the principle has been communicated so often. Maybe you've asked your team members to collaborate in the process of the why. And so there's buy-in. Or maybe you've asked them to speak in a short way. Every week you pick one person to speak towards the mission of your team as well as the vision of where you're going, so that way there's buy-in. You see, if they know what the mission is, then they'll be more inclined to head towards the vision. Vision is the where. Vision is what brings inspiration. You see, having a vision keeps people excited about seeing what's being accomplished. Now, this is where your wow people really engage. Wow people love the vision. The vision of, like we said last session, of digging 1,000 wells in Africa. A wow person thinks this is a phenomenal idea. Or maybe we have our mission. We exist as a missions group to bring help to the hurting and salvation to the lost. That's a great mission I just came up with. Phenomenal. We say this, we believe this, we live this. But what is our vision? What are we going to accomplish? Well, the wow person and the team comes up with the idea of 1,000 wells in Africa. Well, this is great. Now there's some inspiration for us to head towards. This is where your wow people really engage. Number 4, however, healthy leaders propel the team forward with goals. We have a mission. Now we have a vision, like a direction that we're going to go. But then we need to begin to ask ourselves, how? Well, goals are what we're going to accomplish the how. So goals are the how. A how is always a challenge. And I'll tell you what, there is nothing better for a team than a challenge. There is nothing that draws human beings together greater for a common goal than all of us suffering underneath a challenge, trying to accomplish a challenge, dreaming up a way to accomplish a challenge. Not only what the big grand vision is, but how we're going to accomplish that challenge. And nothing keeps teams more united than a goal to rally around. You see, the vision of maybe digging 1,000 wells in Africa is going to have maybe 10 large goals to accomplish before you get there. Number 1, maybe you might identify as how much does a well cost, right? So goal number 1 is going to be research. And now we have various members on the team who are working towards the research. Goal number 1 is there's a lot of information we need. The who, the how, the what, the where, the why, all of that needs to be researched. Goal number 1 is research. And goal number 2 is, let's say, funding, right? We're going to need funding. And now that we did the research, we know how much it's going to cost and how much funding we're going to need to be able to not only dig 1,000 wells, but to be able to get, missionaries and supplies and everything there. Third, we need to maybe establish where are these wells going to go. That's goal number 3. Maybe number 4, it's who's going to actually do the digging, right? Are we going to be catalyzing people to go? Are we going to utilize locals? Is it going to be a hybrid of, and so you see the process of establishing goals to work towards the vision because of the mission. And so goals are paramount. The goals are actually not the wow and where wow people really thrive. You see, the goals are where the how people thrive. Well, how are we going to accomplish this great and grand scheme? See, goals create an opportunity to suffer together towards the fulfillment of something measurable. And trust me when I say, suffering bonds teams together. If you've ever been through a problem and solved it together, you become closer. If you ever find yourself at a place to where one of your members within your team suffers and you guys love each other, trust me, just like the Bible says, when one of us rejoice, all of us rejoice. And when one of us weeps or suffers, all of us weeps and suffers, because it is a part of and affects the team. And I'll tell you, those types of challenges, whether they are internal or whether they are external, or whether they are just a goal that the team must work together, suffer through to accomplish, it will draw you together. Number 5, healthy leaders communicate tasks. Healthy leaders communicate. Now listen, what I did not say is healthy leaders do all the tasks. Did you hear that? I did not say healthy leaders do every task. Now listen, healthy leaders are servants, so they're willing to do whatever tasks are necessary, short of sin, obviously, to accomplish the task they are. But healthy leaders, more than just, people who see tasks and put them on a list and start knocking them out, they're people who actually see tasks and communicate those tasks to the people that are on their team. Why? Why? Because tasks are the what. Tasks are the what we're going to do. Remember, the mission is the why, the vision is the where, the goals are the how. Well, now we're into tasks, and the tasks are the what. You see, we see the goal of, let's say, research. Was goal number one was research. Well, the tasks, that's a goal, and that's a nice goal. We need research, but the task now needs to be accomplished by various members of the team, and the what they need to research needs to be communicated. So, hey, Jennifer, could you do me a favor, or do us a favor as a team, and can you research maybe healthy, clean water standards? Can you research how much, a well actually, is to dig? I mean, can you find other, companies, or can you find other businesses or other ministries that are doing it? Call them, email, and figure out what are some of the comparative prices. And now you're handing out tasks that heads us towards a necessary goal. Now listen to me. Tasks are, jot this down, the work. The tasks are the work. The tasks are oftentimes the reason why people don't even want to be a part of a team in the first place, because they're going to have to do work. Tasks are the reason why so many people don't even want to accomplish anything for the Lord in the first place, because it's going to take work. But guess what? It takes work. It does take work. And listen, and the Bible talks about work. The Bible talks about ministry as if it's work. The Bible utilizes the word work for ministry, I believe, like 7 different times. I wish I would have brought that evidence to you today. But listen, the Bible calls ministry work. Now, it's work that you can have joy with. It's work that you can have a sense of purpose with. But I'm telling you, it's a work that it will always look like work and be like work and will take work to accomplish. And so are tasks. Tasks are the work of the ministry. Tasks are the 1,000 things that it takes to accomplish just one goal. I'm not talking about the vision, the ultimate vision, but it takes like 1,000 tasks just to accomplish goal number 1, let alone goal number 10 to be able to accomplish. This is why it is so imperative that you have a team. It's imperative that you have a team so that way you aren't the sole person doing all the tasks, because trust me, it's going to take you 10 times longer to get to goal number 1, let alone goal number 10, if you go at it alone. Leaders, don't go at it alone. Tasks make up the lists that are just ever growing and shrinking. Tasks seem to scream the loudest, but listen to me, they actually hold the least weight of importance. You see, you might maybe not accomplish one of your goals, right? And you probably won't survive if you don't accomplish one of your goals. Let's say it's goal number 2, funding. You think that you're going to accomplish the ultimate vision if you don't accomplish goal number 2, funding? There's no way. But let's say you miss a task. Let's say, I thought I asked Jen to go ahead and do some research on clean water standards. If she doesn't do research on clean water standards, but we still accomplish goal 1 through 10 without her accomplishing her one task, we're far more likely to be able to accomplish the ultimate vision for the ultimate mission, even though we missed a task. However, tasks are the things that stress us out. Tasks are the things that scream the loudest, but hold the least weight of importance. Now, I'm really trying to help you here. This took me, out of my 20 years of leadership and ministry, it probably took me 19 years and 6 months to figure this out. And I'm still struggling with it. What is the struggle? The struggle is that we're far more apt to become task-oriented people than we are to become vision-oriented people. To keep the most important thing without getting caught up in all the minutiae of the details and the tasks. You see, tasks will always attempt to steal the spotlight and demand the most attention. But remember, they are only created to accomplish a measurable goal. I'm not saying tasks are evil or bad. Tasks are necessary to accomplish the goal. It's just that the tasks are not as important as the goal. And goals are not as important as the vision. And vision is not as important as the mission that the group had established. You see, it goes mission, vision, goals, tasks. And until you learn how to prioritize those things, you will always have a team that has a lot of ideas, but very little traction towards its ultimate purpose. Or you'll have a team that maybe is accomplishing goals as Jen has a goal and as Luis has a goal, and they go and accomplish their goals, but they're not accomplishing their goals within unity because they don't have a mission to rally under and they don't have a vision to head towards. They don't know their why and they don't know where they are going. And so they don't know what tasks to do to accomplish the how of where and of why. We must put in priority mission, vision, goals, and tasks. Side note, many unhealthy leaders die on the battlefield of tasks. They die on the battlefield of tasks. They burn out on the battlefield of tasks. They quit and they become cynical and they become frustrated on the battlefield of tasks. They assume their job is to accomplish all of the tasks, most often themselves. And the best leaders accomplish little to no tasks personally, but rather delegate them out to a willing and well-trained team. Even Jesus himself, who was the servant of all, looked to his disciples and said, "Go prepare the upper room for the Passover." What was that? He delegated the tasks for the ultimate goal of the Passover. He told them, hey, go into that city over there and you're going to find a colt tied, untie him. If the owners say, hey, what are you doing taking my donkey? Say, oh, the Lord has need of it. Jesus literally delegated out a donkey jacking for his disciples, right? But the point is that he delegated it out, right? Here's the big idea, is that there are 4 levels of importance. A, there is the mission. And the mission should be carved in stone. That's how long-lasting the mission is. That's how valuable the mission is. That's the weight of importance, is that it's carved in stone, it's propped up against the wall or hung up for all to see, said often, believed, and worked towards. Secondly, however, the vision shouldn't be carved in stone. Vision should be written in ink. It should be written in ink because it's important. It should be written in ink because it's probably going to be permanent for a long time, and especially if it's a vision we're working towards, and that vision is not going to be accomplished by this Sunday. It's going to take us maybe a projected time of 6 months, a year, 6 years to accomplish some visions. And guess what? That vision needs to be written in ink because it's pretty permanent. The goals, however, the goals that you establish to get towards the vision, the goals should be scratched down in pencil. I mean, like, you should write goals down in pencil. Why? So that way, when you are done with goals, you can erase them. Or when you have accomplished the goal, you can, or when you want to change the goal, you can erase it and rewrite it. The point is that goals, though important towards heading towards the vision, are not as important as the vision, and they're certainly more important than tasks. Tasks should simply be typed in an email, they should be texted over the phone, or they should be spoken on demand. But tasks, for some leaders who won't be leaders for very long, at least not healthy leaders for very long, tasks for some reason, for some leaders, are so important that they're carved on stone. But listen, they should not hold as much weight as the mission, the vision, and the goals that God has given to your team to accomplish. You're going to find in your supplemental PDF handouts that I have an example that I want to go over with you. This example, I want you to follow along with me. I've actually written out the 4 different areas that we've discussed: mission, vision, goals, and tasks. And I've actually created a simple structure to accomplish. Let's say if I step in fresh today into children's ministry at Imagination Church in Thermal, California. Imagination Church in Thermal, California has just recently either hired me or has asked me as a volunteer at their church to take over children's ministry. Well, where am I going to go? Well, obviously, I'm not going to show up on day one and just change everything. I'm probably going to sit down and assess where everyone's at and get to know all the people that are involved in the ministry and where their heart is and who's sticking around and who plans on going and who used to be here and all those important assessment questions that we would ask. After that, I would sit down, of course, and I'd seek the Lord. I'd seek the Lord with prayer and I'd seek the Lord with fasting, because I think we really receive lots of vision. We even see Nehemiah. He hears about the brokenness of Jerusalem, the wall and its people. And it says the first thing he does is he sits down and he fasts and he prays. Then he weeps. He receives a vision, recruits others to be a part of the fasting and praying process, knows what his vision is, asks God to accomplish it, stands before the king. And as soon as the king says, "What's going on with your face?" he throws up a prayer and communicates the vision. But at first, he sat down and he prayed and he fasted and he sought the Lord. I encourage you, don't attempt to accomplish anything in your own strength. Man, if that's not a leadership principle, and I know that you've heard it and I know that you know it, but do not attempt to accomplish spiritual work in the flesh. We need the Spirit of God, the inspiration of God, the wisdom of God, and the Word of God to lead and to guide our mission, our vision, our goals, our tasks, because if it does, then it will also lead our team. And if it leads our team, then we are sure to have all the success that God has prepared for us. So what is our mission? What is our mission for Imagination Church? Thermal, California, after assessment, after fasting, after praying. Well, maybe I would receive a mission like this. In your supplemental handout, follow along. Our new mission, Imagination Church and Thermal's mission for children's ministry is to create the most fun and Christ-centered hour of your child's week. Maybe that's a great mission, maybe not. I don't know. I jotted something down. The vision, well, how are we going to accomplish that? Well, the vision, our vision, is to see a generation of young people absolutely love church and fall in love with Jesus at the same time. To accomplish this, we need a small army of the best ministry partners in our church. Therefore, we will commit to recruit, train, and retain a team of ministry partners for our children that emphasizes safety, fun, teaching the scriptures, and communicating the gospel message in a clear way to children. Do you see the vision? You see the why we're doing what we're doing? Why are we here for children's ministry? Because we want to create the most fun and Christ-centered hour of your child's week. Oh, the mission is great, especially from a children's ministry standpoint, to communicate to the church, because they're really interested in their child having a fun and Christ-centered hour while they are at church. So this is why we're doing it. But what, right? Or how are we going to accomplish it? What is our how? What is our vision? Well, our vision is to see a generation of young people just they got to love church, right? And they got to fall in love with Jesus at the same time. And to do this, we're going to need like these huge goals that we work towards to get there. And to get there, we know we're going to need an army, like a small army of the best ministry partners in our church. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to get there? Well, we're going to recruit, we're going to train, we're going to retain them. And we're going to emphasize safety. We're going to emphasize fun. We're going to emphasize teaching the scriptures and communicating the gospel in a clear way to children. This is the vision that we're heading towards. This is what we are imagining. This is what we are seeing, right? We can see it. We're not there yet, but we can see the vision of this brand new position that I'm in this broken children's ministry, accomplishing that. This is where we want to head. This is what we're going to communicate over and over and over again. So how do we get there? Well, the only way that we can get there is with some goals. So we need some goals. Well, I've wrote down just a few goals. Goal number 1, we need to recruit some ministry partners, guys. I mean, Jan, we got you, and Luis, we got you. You got me, but there's the 3 of us. We're going to need 30 of us, not 3 of us. So one of our first things that we're going to do is we're going to recruit some ministry partners. And maybe you can teach them, all of the things that I taught you about training, about recruiting for themselves. But here's some other tasks Now that we have goal number one, we need to recruit ministry partners. How are we going to recruit ministry partners? Well, let's start doling out some tasks. Hey, Jen, can you put a video announcement together? We fill out the video announcement, event action worksheet form for us, and follow after the system that's necessary that the church has established to get your announcement and video announcements that we're recruiting for children's ministry because we got this big vision and exciting thing. Can you put something like, okay, thank you, Jen. Now notice I didn't do the task, but we did the task. Primarily it was Jen who did the task, but we did the task together, okay? Why? Because we as a team are working towards the goal. Thank you, Jen. Oh, Luis, could you create a parent a parent party for exposure to kids ministry? Like, and matter of fact, listen, this was actually Luis's idea. Luis came to me last week and he was like, I got a great idea. How about a parent party? Right? But here I am. I'm standing up. Hey, Luis, you want to put together a parent party? Now, listen, this was his idea. Of course he wants to do it. Luis says, of course, that was my idea. Well, good, Luis. Now give me, what is your desire? What would you like to see? Well, I want to see a party where parents come and they sing all the old kids songs from when they were in children's ministry, mixed with some of our newer songs. So we're going to get parents up there and they're going to be teaching their kids how to father Abraham like nobody's business. And then all of a sudden, our kids are going to teach and they're going to do a presentation for the parents regarding the new worship song about how they love God and how God loves them. So there's something. Well, we should have food. We for sure should have food, but let's not just get like pizza, but let's get some like children's ministry centered like food items. And so we collaborate and we begin to talk and discuss what is some children's ministry, food items, some things that would be representative of children's ministry. The wow people begin to be creative and as a result, we come up with a few ideas. Now, what we're doing is we're supporting Luis, but it is Luis' task to now head up what is necessary for this parent party so that way the parents can get exposed to children's ministry and see what is it all about. And then thirdly, another task would be to initiate a Go Get One reward campaign. So what do you guys think? You think we should put together a Go Get One reward campaign? Like we know we need 30 people by the end of the year, but it's January. What if we doubled our children's ministry today and each one of us went and got somebody by the end, I'm sorry, not doubled today, but by the end of this month? What if we all committed to doubling children's ministry volunteers by the end of this month, by each one of us go, pray, and ask God to help us to recruit somebody to bring them to be a part of the team. You see, there was one goal, but 3 tasks put towards the goal of recruit ministry partners. What about goal number 2? Now we need to train ministry partners. Here's the second goal. So you know what, Luis, you did a really great job with the safety training last month. Could you maybe do that again? And what about fun training? Like, hey, Bob, you're brand new. We just recruited you, 3 weeks ago to children's ministry, but I gotta say, Bob, you are really amazing when it comes to the game time in kids' church. What if maybe we sat down and collaborated on training for fun? Like, what could you put together maybe like 10 tips on how to have fun in children's ministry? And Bob says, sure. Like tip number 1, I would say, don't take yourself too seriously. It's kids. That is a great point, Bob. Bob puts it now on paper and comes up with 10 tips on how to have fun that becomes part of our training. Listen, training. You think adults don't need to be trained on how to have fun with first graders in children's ministry? Of course they do. And so Bob puts together the training. Do you see the point? The point is that there is a goal, but the tasks are not being accomplished by one person, not bottlenecking with one person. But listen, the tasks are now given away, not just because I'm lazy, not because I'm lazy, but because I want to see people come into their calling. I want to see people be a part of the team. I want to see people engaged in the life and the health of the teams. Why? So that way, with engagement comes health. With health comes attraction. And with attraction comes a full team that is about duplication. Thirdly, there is teacher training. Fourth is child evangelism training. And we passed all those tasks out, maybe even hired one of those tasks to come in. We hired someone to bring in some innovative ways to get the gospel into children's hearts. And they came and they did a seminar for our children on a Saturday afternoon. The point is that we have a vision that we're heading towards because we have a mission that we've bought into. And with that vision, we have goals. And with those goals, we have tasks. But they all have their place within the direction that we're going. And so I've given to you in your supplemental notes there, I've given to you a framework that you, and this is your assignment for this session. I want to give you an assignment of coming up with a fictitious ministry. And I don't want it to be the ministry that you're already a part of. I don't want it to be, maybe you're in the marketplace and for you it's like ministry. What are you talking about? I'm in this leadership class for the marketplace. That's okay. I just want you to come up with a fictitious ministry. And I want it to be a ministry team. I want you to write up a mission. I want you to write up a vision. And I want you to write up 3 goals with tasks that support those goals. And I want to see those from you guys when they turn in all of your guys' notes and homework and assignments for this class. And I can't wait to see what innovative things you guys come up. And I also believe that through that process, some of you are going to find out that you're more how than wow. And some of you are going to find out that you're more wow than how. And I want you to recognize in that moment the beauty of why you need each other. Maybe you're a wow person. You come up with this really wild, radical, awesome ministry with a great mission, a great vision. But when it comes to the goals and the tasks, you struggle a little. And you realize, man, it's kind of a hard thing, like to come up with the how to accomplish this mission and vision. But you know that there's potentially somebody in your class who's really amazing at the how portion, but they're just struggling to even get going. Well, what ministry? I mean, I don't know. I don't really have the creativity. I don't know, maybe this sounds stupid, or maybe this doesn't even really make sense, and they're having a hard time with the mission and vision. If you're a how person, you're going to struggle with the mission and vision, and guess what? That's okay. Why? Because you are not everything that your team needs. You are part of a team that hopefully is heading in a direction. The old Afghan proverb says, if you think you are leading but you're all alone, then you're only taking a walk. May we not be people who are heading in a direction, taking a walk, accomplishing tasks, thinking that we're accomplishing goals and a vision when we're not, all alone, because we are being a little less fruitful than what God would call us to be. And so may you be successful in your mission, in your vision, in your goals and your tasks for the glory of God, for the accomplishment of what God has laid on your team's heart for the salvation of the lost and for the glory of God. Let's pray. Father, I just want to say thank you for this time that I've had to just stand in front of this camera, knowing that on the other side of this is a screen and a face and a heart and a mind, a life, Lord, that has purpose, that has meaning, a life that has been saved, a life that is indwelled with your very own Spirit, a life that has a mixture of gifts for a purpose and a calling that's greater than themselves. There is potential for leadership and servanthood, for miracles to happen, for the world to be changed in and through them. And I pray for them, God. And I ask that you would empower them by your Spirit, that you would enable them with your wisdom, with your truth, to transform their ministries into exactly what you're calling them to be, for your glory and for your good. In Jesus' name, amen. God bless you, church. We sure love you. See you soon.